Sam Egite Oyovbaire, Professor of Political Science, now retired from former routine teaching in the university, but still very much related to the university because by the privilege of His Excellency, the governor of the state, previous governor of the state, Dr. Oyovbaire, subsequently also extended by the present governor, His Excellency, Dr. Ifeanyi Kowa. I'm the Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of the Governing Council of Delta State University, Abraka. I'm also the Chairman of the currently Delta State Advisory and Peace Building Council. Many things can be said about the past, but I was Minister of Information and Culture at some point in time under the administration of General Ibrahim Babangida. Before then, or during the period, I was very much involved in the behind-the-scenes work for about 5 years with General Babangida in trying to turn the country around. As of that time, with the best, we thought we were doing our best. Try to reduce the multiplicity of political parties into two, what we probably now then called the NRC and SDP. Babangida would describe it as a little to the right, a little to the left.
Yes.
But we can say many more things about that, but I believe that gives you an insight into the kind of person I am, very much involved. About 25 years teaching at Ahmadu Bello University and University of Benin, and also spent some time at the Institute of Commonwealth Studies in London, and also at my former university, University of Manchester, where I had my doctorate degree years ago.
Well, not that, even without saying much, the Rouge of Oyovbaire, who nominated as a legion of Oyovbaire Kingdom, definitely did not make any mistake. But can you please tell us, at least, we know there are many, but some of your contributions to develop?
Well, as for the kingdom, it's an interesting thing. Between 1964 and 1970, 71, I returned back into the country. When I was as a student at the London School of Economic and Political Science, I was for about 5 years, I was the Secretary General of the Oyovbaire Union, United Kingdom branch. And in that context, I became very much involved in the affairs of the monarchy. When, after the revival of the kingdom, the suscitation of the kingdom in 1945, the person who took over the throne, or who succeeded, Isiji II, in 1945, passed on in 1966. And then there was a bit of struggle. In fact, there was another short interregnum from 1966 and 1972. And the Oyovbaire Union, as you know, was very much involved, first in the revival of the monarchy, but at this particular time I was very much involved in finally the emergence of Uroro I, the immediate predecessor to the present monarchy. That's at the union level. In 1971-72, when I was recruited directly from London as an assistant lecturer at the university, at Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, I was very concerned about the kingdom. And we were young, I was young, and I'm now old. I was able to persuade a good number of younger people there who are also equally old too, like the senior advocate, Chief Okpoko. Mr. Mono, I'm talking about those who are still alive, who incidentally is completely blind but is alive. A man called Geoffrey Komori, who was working for Share, and others. And because we wanted to re-energize the Oyovbaire Union, we formed what they called Oyovbaire Youth Forum. And the Oyovbaire Youth Forum at that time is interesting because this was just when the Aurora the First, the immediate predecessor to President Oroge, was also taken up the throne, and he was actually blessed the forum. And we had a very interesting plan for Oyovbaire, for example. We mapped out the whole of Oyovbaire because the kingdom, as our history goes, is founded by 4 brothers. And we had wanted that descendants of the brothers should have their various areas in Oyovbaire. And we would persuade all these descendants, our children, to come and develop your quarter. Some kind of competition, so that we know which of the quarter is going on. So Oyovbaire was quite designed by the Oyovbaire Youth Forum. This is interesting when I go back, because I was a lecturer too, assistant lecturer too at Ahmadu Bello University. I would drive all the way, twice every month. I was secretary of the Oyovbaire Youth Forum, from Zaria through Kaduna, Kontagora, Jeba to Ilorin. Then the Abuja stretch was not available, not been opened by Gowon. And twice every month I would attend meetings. Sometimes I go by this small bus called the one used by the Bendel Observer bus that delivers newspapers to Zaria, Kaduna, and goes to Kano. On its way from Kano, I would board it, come, and I would come, take minutes, have discussion. I've carried out my research, and so on and so forth. And so the Youth Forum was very brought so many energy to our youth at that time. As I said, those of us who called ourselves youth there were now old. Yes. You see that we don't have old people's forum to continue with the struggle. But there's an Oyovbaire Youth Council currently, which is doing fairly well. For this particular period, recent period, you'll be surprised. You have been to my rusty little village home. That home where you were, that was where we took a decision to build the present palace that you have today. Because the Oyovbaire Union had always been confronted with the need to have a palace. Before then, any king stays in his house, and of course he dies, and the children take over the place. But since Aurora the First passed, and the present Aurora the First took over, you can't remove the palace because it's the people's palace. We took a decision, and myself, I led the delegation, myself, Chief of Boko, the senior advocate, and the 53rd person. We went to meet our very good patriotic leader then, now late Chief Senator Dio Dafinone. And he says, if you know him, he's a very funny person. He had also been very much bothered about the issue. But he never trusted to spend his time and money on a gigantic project like that if he didn't have trusted people. And just on the funny side of it, he calls Boko and myself funny names. Our name. Boko is Thompson. Boko, he has other names. I say, Thompson, will you stand by me on this project? And then my name is, actually, I said I told him Sam, but actually the full name is Samson. Said, Samson, will you stand by me on this project? And we said, yes, we would. He said, okay. You, Samson, you took over the secretariat of Boko, took over the management of the thing. And got a young man who is now so now late, very my age generation, Chief Solomon Onomakome. He was a banker. So he was a treasurer. So we set to work. This was in 1994, 95, and organized a fundraising exercise. If you get to the palace today, you will have, inscription. Everything in that place are from my documents. They are in my library. I know who contributed initially. I can tell you, I don't know how much the palace cost. It's only Dafinone who cost it because he used G Kappa, and there was a majority holder in G Kappa and Sons. And now late Chief William Pemu got it, an architect, an Isoko man from Benin, who designed the place. Where the palace is today is one-third built. There's also two-thirds of that is not yet built, intended for guest houses and so on and so forth. So in terms of one's contribution, I really don't like talking too much about myself. Even right from the very beginning as assistant lecturer in Zaria, so many daughters and sons of Oyovbaire and of Urobo had passed through me in terms of admission to university. Some of them would stay with me because the Zaria and home was, holidays, they would stay with me. My wife was very much accommodating, and so many of them today, they will come around. And I have continued with the university system, and up to today, we still do the little we can at this point in time. And so many, right now, at Delta State University, I can count so many people that, not that just admission is just ordinary thing. Now, the fact, in terms of employment, people who are qualified and there's a vacancy and they can perform, and all you need is just to put in a little word and they have a pass. I hope as a whole, if you come to my village, where you came, it was it was a bush path. It was a bush path. Incidentally, that's where the Oyovbaire also came from. The main village, the main town is Adeje, which is on the express, not the present express, the old road from Warri to Sapele. I caused it to have that road down to my village and down to the last village. After that is the creek. The last village is called Iriama, and there's a sister village, Bobogri. It was through my efforts that the place was opened up. And again, because of my relationship with the system, as it were, I don't want to call too many names. The electricity was not now that electricity is privatized. Today you cannot get, BEDC or any disco to come and, just. But then it was in government hands, so we could influence a lot of things. And two things should also be said. When I said, the present Oyovbaire, very coincidentally, when I talk about building of the palace, he didn't know who would be Oyovbaire, but every Oyovbaire person is a prince, as it were, because you must be a descendant of one of the four ruling houses. But it wasn't important. I never planned that he would be Oyovbaire. The only time we were raising money to build a palace, he sent letters. He was GOC, I think he was in charge of that wing of the army that deals with discipline, red cap in Apapa and so on. He sent a letter to all his colleagues in the end, and he brought everybody in the college that paid money, not his. So apart from Dafinone, some of us just paid 500,000 naira to 50,000 naira. Oyovbaire was able to collect a huge amount of money through individual, not his personal money. Those who added the money. I have the records. So that was one thing about Oyovbaire. Back to the village. Apart from my personal effort in getting the village linked up with good roads and electricity, Oyovbaire, when he became GOC, he's a retired general, GOC Enugu, and the military governor came on short fellow. He was able to ask him to give him water. Interesting thing about how water got to that Oyovbaire's effort. The military governor asked him, sir, supposing I give you some of the money, would that not enough? He said, no, I don't want money I want. I want water in my village. He called my name that I had struggled to get government to give us road and electricity. The third thing which is important for any community is water. As if he were selfish, he could easily have just collected the money and so that's how water got into the village. So those three led items. Today, I'm in the village, you know that. I stay in the village. Apart from there is my little hut, little bungalow in Benin, Nubowo. I have a house opposite the university where when I retired finally at the University of Benin. And we had a bungalow, myself and my wife. Apart from that, where you saw me are the two places I have, moderate and comfortable. Thank God, So, on the whole, I think it has been fair for the Urhobo nation. The UPU had always nominated me. I'm supposed to be one of the advisors on relationship with other ethnic groups. And a couple of contributions that we have had to make, even when the thing is still lingering, the crisis between Mrs. Tiger, Chief Mrs. Tiger's, which is the UPU that I know, and the Chief Omene, who was, for me, is like a faction, We tried to intervene to settle the issue, to lower the temperature and the tension that was on. So on the whole, I feel a sense of satisfaction. I'm not just an academic, I'm also a politician, as it were. I'm a founding member of the People's Democratic Party. After the party was inaugurated at the International Conference Center in Abuja in 1998, the directive was that after the rally and crying and all that, I said every state should now return and form the party. It was in my suite, Sheraton Hotel in Abuja, that everybody converged. Our leader then, now late, Dr. Oyovbaire, we just accepted as our leader, but it was in my suite we took a decision to come to PTI conference hall in Warri. And from there we moved to the Palm Grove Hotel or something and selected the pioneer officers of the party. That was that forum that this outstanding distinguished Senator James Manager emerged as the chairman, the pioneer chairman of the party. So it's an interesting thing. People will fight today, but how the PDP was from the Delta State is quite interesting, because Ubeku was there leading us, and recognized now also late Tom Egbuwoku was there. James Manager was there, people like myself and so on and so forth were there. And it was just assumed, because the first elected governor of the state then, Felix Ubri, was Urhobo, and because his tenure was cut short, it was assumed that the governor would come from Urhobo. And I don't know, just assumed that the chairman would come not only from the South Senatorial District, but would come from Niger. And so a friend of mine, now also late Trigo Morai from Patani, and James Manager competed for it. And James Manager emerged as the chairman, pioneer chairman. The now present Senator Peter Mwambushi emerged from the north as the pioneer secretary. We all came to Asaba here. Asaba wasn't like this, Asaba is quite big now, the place. It was Mwambushi's rusty, I call it rusty, he knew it was the rusty office that I was physically involved with him, pull it down and to paint it as a PDP secretary. And then we had a rally at the local government Arcade, that's the Arcade. That was when we had a rally and people from the center, national people came and so on. That's the beginning of PDP. So but the simple point is that I'm also a politician, and I still remain, believe, a very big commitment to the PDP. Because almost anything that needs to be done for the survival of this country, the PDP holds it. It may be done well, it may not be done well, but as a belief, if you look at the PDP manifesto, anything that is good for this country is there. It's a matter whether the officials at any one point in time, the elected governor or elected president of that PDP is doing it well or not. So as a basis for commitment to a party, and as a teacher, as an academic, I don't just move anyhow, I'm focused. So put together, I think one has tried much as one could in helping the Oyovbaire Kingdom and helping assistance for Urhobo nation. Oyovbaire Kingdom, you probably already know from your last exercise on Wari Palace, is traditionally administered through 13 districts. And with all the things that I am, I'm a district head under the Oyovbaire. And this, for example, this Sunday, there is a conflict, a case to be settled in my house. So in terms of conflict resolution, I have been very much involved, at the Oyovbaire level, at the Urhobo level. At the time the UPU, these were the days gone by, was very much started. One faction led by now late Edewo and late Dr. Isiri, on the other side. And also late Dafinone tried to get and were involved in helping to form. Even tried to form, okay, let's leave UP alone and form another, Urhobo assembly in order to, but it never really worked. But that was all attempt to try and resolve. So beyond the Oyovbaire and Urhobo level, as I told you earlier, presently, in the past 5 years, going to 6 years now, I'm the chairman of the Delta State Advisory and Peace Building Council. And His Excellency the Governor has a very senior advisor on that who works with me in the council. But there are so many areas where we have intervened successfully, whether it is one classic one recently for me, which was at Ugeli, His Excellency, Your Majesty, the monarch of Ugeli had some issues with part of the kingdom and it was going to create a problem. And it was referred to us. And I set up a subcommittee which worked very hard and came up with a very beautiful report. In fact, we recommended that because of the way the subcommittee worked about it, the cooperation of His Royal Majesty, the monarch, and those who complained and so on, we wanted the documents to be gazetted so that it is like a model way, there are so many areas of conflicts and quarrels which we have had to intervene, whether it's in Isoko, whether it's between Uye and Uju, even between Oyovbaire and Uye, incidentally, they have been very successful, and thank God, His Excellency the Governor has some confidence, that's what I think, has confidence in me, and in leading a 43-man group in the State Advisory Council, made up of deputy governor, former deputy governors, former ministers, senators, former ministers, and one has to have the good luck to manage people like that with the sense of satisfaction on their side. So I can say that I have been lucky that I tend to see more friends around me than anybody who quarrels with me.